listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Tuesday, August 6th. It is another fun week because we get to follow up with more stories from convention. Mm-hmm. I think we've wrapped up stories from youth gathering, although we had so many great stories from that. I think we finished all those.
I think so.
But we'll just start working on the 2022 gathering stories, right? Getting ready for that.
Sure.
So continuing our conversations, what are the outcomes from the 67th regular convention of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod? Talk about that today. And you know, I didn't plan this, but coincidentally, now that I think about it, we get to talk in the second half. We had a chance to talk with National Association of Directors of Christian Education. Wow,
Words on a Tuesday.
It is. So we get to talk with a couple of DCEs this morning about how do DCEs contribute to that lifelong discipleship? What is their role in making disciples for life? We get to talk with them. But do you know what today is?
It's a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday.
Is it your baptism birthday?
That's Thursday.
That's Thursday, right.
No, remember, this is birth anniversary.
Oh, it's your anniversary of your DCE commissioning.
Very good.
Yes.
Good job.
Gold
so
stars.
19 years that I've had the privilege of serving as a DCE, so I didn't plan it this way, but it's kind of funny that we get to talk with DCEs about being DCEs today. And also this morning we get to talk with President Hagan of the Missouri District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod about some of the outcomes that pertain to national witness and also discipleship as well. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. You can find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
Joining us in studio this morning, the Reverend Dr. Lee Hagan, President of the Missouri District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Good morning, President Hagan.
Good morning. It's good to be with you all.
Thank you for coming over to the studio this morning, spending some time with us, hopefully fully recovered from the busy circuit this summer of gathering and convention and all those other travels, probably the in between as well. So thanks for spending some time with us.
Sure.
You were chairman of Floor Committee 1. Sounds like a really exciting title.
The first among equals.
Sounds very important.
What is the work of a floor committee when it comes to convention?
A floor committee basically takes a look at all of the overtures that are sent in from congregations and boards of directors from districts, boards for the synod, and takes a look at all of those overtures. And then also the reports that are developed by the various districts, by the staffs, from the national office, and takes all the overtures, and then crafts a series of resolutions on specific areas. And so ours was national witness, probably not particularly controversial. We're all for telling people about Jesus, so our resolutions were pretty well received by the convention, and it was just a very positive way to get the convention off to a good start.
What is your role? Your role as chairman. What does that entail? Is it a bit of wrangling cats, or is it a really good way to bring all these people together from different areas and work toward a common goal? Sure.
A floor committee has commission ministers, ordained ministers, and lay people. There are. It depends upon the floor committee, but folks from across the synod, and so. Trying to lead to good conversation, different views on some of the issues, and help us to understand. You know, we had a resolution related to small congregations, and we had folks on our committee from Southern California, Texas, New Jersey, as well as from the Heartland. And so there were great conversations about the challenges facing small congregations for all of those. And so it depends upon the floor committee, but most of them kind of divide up and have a couple of 2 or 3 working groups, and just to make sure everybody's kind of plugging along. It's a long weekend, floor committee weekend, but you know, it's making the sausage, and you got to do that.
And that's usually around Memorial Day weekend, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it was the weekend after Memorial Day. And, you know, our committee, we made pretty good use of the time, and got done Sunday early afternoon. So
we had some new technology, I think, this year as well for Floor Committee Weekend as well to help that process move along, if I recall correctly. Some new technology to keep everything structured and organized from Secretary Sias. What were the important issues and the outcomes from those issues that were presented to Floor Committee 1?
In particular, focus on church planting and multi-ethnic outreach and encouraging witness, very much an external focus, to take the joy of being Lutheran, the joy of the gospel, and to be very intentional about proclaiming that, sharing that in our communities in a variety of ways. And so those are real positive resolutions. Sometimes we have some resolutions from other floor committees where there's good debate on whether it's a doctrinal matter or a structural matter. But our resolutions, by and large, were really positive and focused on those kind of key things. As I mentioned, to me, one of the most important ones was to study small congregations, and that work would be coordinated by the Office of National Mission and the Council of Presidents. Part of what I see when I'm visiting with congregations, when a pastor retires or takes a call, what we're finding is that many of our congregations are facing great challenges being able to call another pastor because the membership has shrunk. And the financial challenges continue to grow. What we don't see changing is the cost of health care. And so health care and benefits packages are such a sizable amount of being able to afford a pastor. And so it's meant that we're having to look at things, look at more creative ways of providing pastoral care for our congregations. And that runs across the synod. It is an issue in urban settings as well as rural and small town settings. And so that's something that we really, I'm looking forward to, the work that will happen on that, because I think it can really put some resources and tools in the hands of circuit visitors and congregation leaders, and as well as district presidents, to address those issues.
Absolutely. That collaboration is very important between churches, and it pulls together the body of Christ as well, to so we can help care for our neighbors who may be in a different congregation but maybe not far away.
Yeah, I preached Sunday in Perry County, Missouri, and it was for an installation. And one of the things I often do before I go is I'll take a look at what demographics data I can for that particular area. And from 2000 to 2010, so that's 9 years old, that information, but the unchurched population doubled.
Wow.
So from 2010 to 2020, do we think that has stopped? I mean, if anything, it's probably more than doubled again. And so, but that's a small town area. And we sometimes have been led to believe that our small towns are buffered in a sense from the pressures of the world. And that's not the case. They're facing many of the same challenges as our urban settings. And so how do we equip our small congregations to care for the people of God, but also be intentional about reaching the lost?
Yeah.
So small congregations, and what were some of the other areas addressed in Floor Committee 1?
To encourage multi-ethnic or strengthen multi-ethnic outreach. Also a resolution focusing on helping make congregations and leaders aware of marriage and family resources. That's such an important thing in our world today, and Concordia Publishing House has done a great job of providing resources to assist our congregations and our families. We also had a resolution that was focused on maintaining the legacy of Dr. Rosa J. Young. And that's an important resolution. Dr. Young was such a pivotal figure for Concordia College, Alabama. And so many of the African-American pastors in our synod, the older generation, entered the ministry because Dr. Young placed her hand on their shoulder and said, you're going to be a pastor. And so the closure of Concordia College, Alabama has been a source of grief for many. And so this was a resolution that came from many of our historically black congregations across the synod. Many of them sent in overtures to emphasize the importance of maintaining Dr. Young's legacy. So that was real positive. Had one on the 100th anniversary of campus ministry in the LCMS that's coming up. So that's something for us to celebrate. And we also had one just encouraging the use of everyone his witness, and to encourage our congregations to be active in bearing witness to Christ in their daily lives and in their communities.
Very good. So a lot of encouragement coming out of these overtures, then resolutions. I feel like we need like the Schoolhouse Rocks
I know.
video.
We need to make one.
Making the process from an overture to floor committee to resolution.
I'm just a bill.
Hey, we have a comms department. Let's get on it.
We've suggested that every year that we when floor committees meet, because a lot of people don't understand the process.
Yeah.
And how does something become a resolution, and what are all the steps that go along with it? So the animation would be fun to watch.
I think we should do it.
It's quite a process, but in the end, all for the sake of the gospel and proclaim that gospel, and making lifelong disciples in the congregations the Lord has given us. Great outcomes from all of these issues, all these resolutions that you presented, and very encouraging. I think that we are encouraged to work together, to collaborate, in all of these areas for the sake of the gospel.
Yeah.
President Hagan, thank you so much for being our guest this morning. With just about 30 seconds left, anything going forward? What were the coming out of this convention? What were the things that you're thankful for or looking forward to?
I think it's always positive to see the declarations of fellowship with the other church bodies, and we hope that we can continue to strengthen those bonds for confessional Lutheranism around the world. A highlight is always the focus on the mission work that's happening overseas. And, as we celebrate 125 years of mission work in the LCMS, there was some really positive stories that came out. So overall, there can be tedious parts, but you leave very much full of joy over who we are as God's people, in spite of the challenges we face.
Thanks be to God. The Reverend Dr. Lee Hagan, President of Missouri District LCMS, dispelling myths about floor committees. It's not about the color of the carpet or the floor. More important than that. You're listening to Coffee Hour. I'm Amy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.